Let's do this. Are you so sleepy, Puppa? Hello, and welcome to the Once Upon a Corgi Podcast. This is a Crafty Puppy podcast coming to you from Southern Connecticut. I am your host, Gabby. You can find me everywhere online as Gabagales and on my hand-dyed yarn at Once Upon a Corgi. We are most active on Instagram if you would like to follow us there. You can find the show notes for most of the episodes on our Ravelry group, Once Upon a Corgi Podcast, under the groups tab in Ravelry, and my feet don't hit the ground. We are back to we are still using the camera setup, but we haven't figured out how to get the video on anything, so apologies if anything is out of focus or we accidentally go out of frame. I can't tell where we are. Both puppies are super sleepy today. We spent most of the morning and early afternoon at my parents' house, puppy sitting Penny for a little bit, so they are super sleepy. And I'm a little bit sleepy too, but we have a podcast to record because we have some things to show you guys. Before we get into the crafty things, we have a couple administrative stuff. The winner for the Springtime Melody Shawl has not gotten in touch with me, so you have 1 week to do so before I draw for a new winner. Words are escaping me today. The winner did get in touch with me for the potluck. I just have to email people. So if you did win the prize, get in touch with me on Ravelry so I can get you in touch with the designer. And if you do not get back to me by next week when I record, I will draw a new prize just to make it fair for people who are actively watching the podcast to win the prizes. It's at the end of September, but I put it in my notes, so here I am saying it. And we will be at A Stitch in Time in Bethel, Connecticut the whole weekend with Once Upon a Corgi, except for the Sunday, in which case we'll be in Coventry eating cannolis from a food truck and petting llamas. I believe it's only on Sunday for that farmer's market at the Nathan Hale Homestead. So I am super excited, even though it's already 2 months away. But it means we're kicking off the fall season soon, which means Rhinebeck, which just means so many good things. I can't wait. I'm so excited. And that's it for administrative/event things. Audrey's just giving me such side-eye because I'm talking during her nap, which will launch us into the crafting thing. It's going to be a pretty short episode. I don't have a lot of content to show you, but I did want to still check in and keep this going. So we will start off with what am I wearing. I'm wearing a self-drafted pattern in this floral on black fabric tank top. I had a tank top of the same shape from store-bought, and when it got so old I couldn't button it anymore because the button band was deteriorating. I cut it apart and used it as a pattern. So, ta-da! It's just a standard tank top, and I reused the buttons from the store-bought tank top, so it's very reclaimed. With that, let's get into finished objects. It was such a blah day, I just didn't feel like really getting dressed, but I had to put on something so I could leave the house. You know, one of those days. I have a finished pair of socks this week. These are the Hermione's Everyday Socks by Erica Luder, I think so. It is out of my hand-dyed yarn, Once Upon a Corgi, in the Blood Moon colorway on my Isaac base, which is 100% superwash Polworth. And I finished the last sock. I finished the second sock last night. after knit group and did the Kitchener stitch while I was setting up for recording the podcast. So none of my ends have been woven in on the second one. See if I can get a close-up of the yarn. I hope that worked. So there it is, perhaps. It's just a gray base with speckles of reds, grays, a little bit of greens. And yeah, they're the first socks I finished in a while. I still don't have any sock mojo, but it's not starting to come back. But I think I just need to reevaluate what I want in a sock at this very moment, if I do want vanilla or if I want a pattern. I don't think I want a pattern. I need to cast on a vanilla sock because I have no movie knitting, so that's got to get fixed real quick. And yeah, there they are. So I'm going to weave in the ends and they will go into the drawer for fall. Now that I have an actual dresser, I will have an actual drawer for my socks. So I can have a sock drawer. Oh, it's a little... And that's it for finished objects. Last week I sort of had like a fluke and had so many, but I didn't record for a couple weeks. And we don't have a lot of active whips because it's only been a week. And also, I don't know. I just really haven't been picking up my knitting as much. I'm going to blame it on the heat that I haven't been picking up my knitting, and my elbows have been acting up, so that's that. But we do have one new cast on that I will show you. I did work on the birds of a feather shawl, but I added 4 rows of garter, so it's really not a lot to show you. It's not worth digging up. I cast on a new sweater, so this will be Rhinebeck sweater number 2, if the gods are pleased and give us cooler weather. This is the Aliska sweater by Caitlin Hunter. Oh, I'm tangled. Hold on. It is her Alaskan-inspired colorwork sweater. It's a top-down sweater with a colorworked yoke, and I am in the thick of colorwork. Doesn't look like it. It's not very pretty. I don't know if this is going to even be in focus because I have to hold this with so many hands. But we have started it, and it is turning out to be much more of a juggling act than I thought it would. Only because it's 3-color stranded knitting, and I've never done that before, and one of the strands is mohair. So everything's a little bit crazy. My floats are not pretty. So there they are so far. It's not great. I just sort of got into a sort of rhythm of it. And, wow, God, I don't even know what else to say about it. I love the colors that I picked. I love the way it's turning out now that you can kind of see the color work growing a little bit. The needles I could probably do without. It's the Carbons, Knitter's Pride, and I think just the joins are a little too of a deep gash for the mohair. Do I even have? Oh no, I have a second whip I have to go get. Oops, that's why I can't switch needles. Just kidding, I did things. But yeah, it's just turning out to be much more of a, I don't know why I can't think of words today. It's more of a concentrated knit than I thought it was going to be, and I don't know why, because I saw that it was 3-color stranded knitting. I knew that this was going to be a thing. I don't know why I thought I was going to, like, keep on going like it was stocking it in the round. So we are going. The main colorway is Tomorrow I Shall Be Featherless, which is the first installment of my Edgar Allan Poe club from last year. The darkest is Nightmares Plus 10. The main color is on a BFL base that I tested for the shop and don't carry. The Nightmares Plus 10 is on my penny base, which is an MCN, and the mohair is Insufferably Damp on the fig lace. I have the cakes, which is probably easier to show you. So there they are right now, and I will be using on the same BFL base Insufferably Damp and Ghoul Hunted Woodlands of Wear for the rest of the sweater. But it's just too much yarn to hold up. I am enjoying knitting it. I don't have to sit in silence while I knit it, but I can't have anything on that I don't know. It's very good office knitting. It's not very good anything else knitting, really. And now thunder starting, of course. Of course! I am going to sit down tonight with it and maybe a podcast and try and get as much as the 3-color section done. I know there's a little bit more of the feather and then I think that's it before I go back to two colors. So I'm going to try and pound this out a little bit tonight. We will see. I am knitting it on size 4 Knitter's Pride Carbons, which is what the pattern called for. I did a test swatch in stockinette, and I did not do a color swatch. I did not swatch for it in the Colorwork because I didn't feel like caking up all the yarn at that point. So I know that's going to come and bite me in the butt later on, but we're going to go with it still. And there's so much dog hair in it. And that's my sweater. I'm super excited for this. It's going to be so dark and gothic, and I'm just so excited. It is living in my Matterroot bag because it is one of the biggest bags I own, and there's so much yarn that needs to go in there. So let me go grab the other WIP. Our next one is living in a Mrs. Brown's bag, and it is the Sweet Pea Dress by Mina Phillip from Knitting Expat Designs. And I am knitting this for a friend in one of my knit groups. Her daughter is having a baby, and we are hosting a baby shower for her this month. So I wanted to make her something a little bit extra. I already made her a baby blanket and a pair of leggings. Right? Yeah, I made her leggings and a baby blanket, but I thought it'd be really cute to do a whole outfit. So I cast on the Sweet Pea Dress because I knew it was a very quick and easy knit. It is out of my hand-dyed yarns on the Audrey base, which is 100% superwash BFL 3-ply yarn. It's super squishy. It's super plump. It's probably closer to a sport weight than a fingering weight, but I'm not sure. According to my maths, because I do wind each skein, it's about 400 yards to 100 to 120 grams. I think it's 120 grams to 400 yards. So it's it's a much plumper fingering weight, but I love it so much. And this was a test color for the After the Rain sock kits. These were the test colors for the After the Rain sock kits that I did with Becky and Hannah from Stringing It Together and the Corner of Craft. So we did go darker on the green, and the pink, I think we stayed about the same with the pinky peach. Yeah, I'm really enjoying it. I mean, it's a giant stockinette tube, and we are just knitting for the next probably 4 to 5 inches, and then we're going to go back and do the border in the pink again. I didn't change anything in the pattern this time. Last time I knit this dress, I added sleeves, but we're just going to go for it. We are knitting the 6 to 12 month size because the baby is due in October, and this is very springy, so I would like this for her to be able to wear in the spring. I'm using my Knit Pro Zings US 4 3.5 millimeter. This is why I can't change my needles on my sweater to knit this. And that is basically it. There's the cake. I'm going to have a lot left over, maybe some more ankle socks. I don't know. And I'm really enjoying the space. It's the first thing I've really knit up in the space. I started a pair of socks, but I just haven't really, I don't think that yarn and that colorway wants to be that sock pattern. So I need to figure out what pattern that sock wants to be. And I'm really enjoying it. I do want to make a sweater for myself out of this yarn. And I feel like it just hasn't gotten the love that it deserves, because it does have a little bit of a tooth to it, but not enough to, it's not so toothy that I wouldn't put it next to skin. I don't think it's too, I feel like I felt baby knits that were scratchier than this. And then if I get a little nervous, I'll just wash it in a little bit of a hair conditioner and soften it up. I might just bring this over to my friend for her motherly judgment. It's basically just what I do with all these baby things. Is this the same size? Is this okay? I have no idea how big children or babies are. I'm terrible at estimating it. Just don't know. I'm not around them that often. It will, however, fit Audrey. That I do know for sure. Yeah, those are basically the only 2 things I've been working on. I've been reading more. I just did a giant wholesale order for work, so we're still kind of getting into like the workflow, and we went through and read lots of work things. So I haven't really been knitting as much, but I am hoping I can make, I think once I get past the colorwork section, not the colorwork section, the whole thing's colorwork. Once I get past the yoke of this sweater, I feel like that's going to be a little bit easier for me to concentrate on other things, because I do want to start clearing off my needles, because fall is coming and we have some stash to knit through. This podcast, it's like I've never done this before. So with that crafting bit out of the way, is that really all I have? Oh my goodness. I guess the rest of this is going to be shop stuff and then non-knitting life things. I have a couple recommendations, not knitting wise. I have one recommendation that's knitting related, so we'll do that after the shop stuff. So I guess we're going to do shop stuff. It's going to be the shortest episode ever. We have one big announcement this Friday, August 10th. I will be releasing the Mischief Managed shawl, and I really hope you can see this. This is a sample that my friend knit up for me using the penny base and the mohair base. So penny and fig lace held double, both in the Field Mice and Flower Crowns colorways, and it's beautiful. I gave the original to Abigail for her wedding, so my friend very kindly reknit me the sample, and I love it so much. I've just been snuggling it for days. That's fine. It's summer. Whatever. I'm just gonna wear it like an old lady. I don't care. So shop things. We are having a shop update of sorts tomorrow, August 9th at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time at onceuponacorgi.com. And I hope everyone can stop by. We did go through all of the Oliver base and all of the Audrey base and redid the inventory for that. So all of that is updated. Everything from SSK and the Cottage Yarn Trunk Show is in the shop, and we are adding Isaac DK and the Cecil Aaron weight dye to order sweater lots into the shop. So I know fall is coming and people like the heavier weights, and I'm never really sure how much to dye of one for a sweater because sweaters can range from so many yardages that I thought it would just be easiest if you guys had the chance to choose how much yardage you needed for a sweater. So there will be 3 skein, 4 skein, 5 skein, 6 skein, and 7 skein packages of dye to order on either the Isaac DK or the Cecil base, one colorway just to make it way easier. You're going to write in what colorway you want, so it's going to be anything on the colorways page, including holiday and like the fall colorways for this year, and then in December I'll leave the listings up, but I'll take away the like holiday fall option, so then it's just the everyday colors, any of the speckles, any of the tonals, except for the iron tweed base. None of those will be available to be dyed onto these bases. I think that's it. So I'm very excited about those. I've been trying to figure out how to set that up to make it easier for everybody, and I think we figured it out. So those are going up. We've been doing a lot of work on the website. We are behind the scenes redoing everything. Organization wise, I find it a little bit harder to kind of pick and choose what base you want to do when all the colors are listed, but you're not totally sure if the base you want is even in stock until you go through and you're ready to try and buy it. Does that make sense? I don't know. I'm redoing a lot of things. It's been a lot of backstage working this week. I think that's mostly it. We have a lot in stock, so we're just working on getting everything out so we can get some space to bring in all of the fall colorways and the Rhinebeck stuff. I think that's most of what's going on. So that's it for shop update. We're just gonna do the 2 sweater lots. The shop is broken down by yarn weight at the moment, so each dye to order listing will be in that yarn weight. It'll be the first listing, so it's easy to find. You don't have to go scrolling through everything. Yes, we've been reorganizing the shop itself, like the physical, the front half of my apartment, basically, trying to figure out a better way to store everything. So that's also been kind of an adventure. Right now, we just have piles of bins everywhere. Yarn mountain. Maybe I'll put a picture in here. I probably won't. It'll just be embarrassing. Or great, depends on how you look at it. That's shop update. Again, that's tomorrow at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time at onceuponacorgi.com, and I really hope you can make it. We also have tons of the Zweig sweater kits. I think we have one Aliska sweater kit up. We've got tons of sock kits. We're just loading the shop up. We're ready for fall. I'm ready for sweaters. And that is going to lead us into non-crafting knitting things, I think. Because we haven't really been doing anything besides working. Did we? No. Well, we went to a tiki party. That was really fun. And then the next day I spent at a winery playing Pokemon. So that was also really fun. But that's as far as that story goes. There's nothing else to it. I do have a recommendation that I was given at SSK, and I cannot remember her name, and I'm so sorry. I don't think she watches this, but if she does, I'm really sorry. And it is let me pull it up in the App Store. It is the Rabbit app. I don't remember if it's on Android, but I think it is. It's definitely on iPhone. And it's a app that uses your Ravelry, but it's way better than trying to look on the website while on the go. Like, it's got, and I feel like I'm the last person to know about this, but you can search for patterns through it, look for yarns through it. You can update your stash and library and queue. I actually put my stash on Ravelry because of this. I've never done that before. That was intimidating and terrifying. I spent last Thursday going through my entire stash and reorganized it. Maybe I'll put in a little organization section of what I did. And found out that just the sock yarn and some DK, I have way more yarn than I thought I did. It's $4.99 for the app, and I definitely think it's worth it, and I never buy apps. And as far as I know, I believe it's a guy who developed this. Whoever developed it is constantly working on it, so there's always new things coming up. I believe they just added, or recently they put in the forum section. I mean, it still looks like the forums on Ravelry, but it's a little bit easier to handle on a phone than a computer, and I'm not big on the forums. I know I should be because I have a group on there. I just hate the format of it so much. So I'm hoping this helps me get in there. I don't think you can check messages. I don't check my messages on the go anyway. I'm basically using this when I'm at a yarn store or at Vogue and I'm standing in a booth and I need to know how many yards my sweater is, kind of thing. So I definitely think it's worth it for that. Highly recommended. I love it. And again, that's a Rabbit. As I said before, it's not a lot of crafting. I do want to spin. The spinning bug is coming back. The sewing bug is coming back. The reading bug is back. I did start a new book called The Spy in the Silver Palace by Jordan Rivet, Empire of Talents, Book 1. Again, it's a young adult. There's no romance in it yet, but it's bubbling. It's another young adult magic post-school. Something's wrong in the kingdom, and she's got to figure out what it is and do it, but this time the magic's sort of broken up into 4 different groups, so and it's genetic. You're either a strength, which means your skin can't be broken, like you can't get stabbed or hurt or anything. You're a blur, which means you can run really fast. A muscle, which just means you're like abnormally strong. Or mimic, which means you can change how you look, but you can't change your body mass. So like they can make themselves look like somebody else, but if that person's taller than them, they have to make themselves skinnier to get that height kind of thing. And she's a mimic, and after school, to pay for their school, they get sort of hired out by the rich nobles, and so strengths become bodyguards, muscles like end up working in like shipyards or warehouses and stuff. Mimics end up becoming sort of bodyguards or just body doubles for nobles. So like if they have to go to a big event and they're afraid something's going to happen, the mimic will be them, kind of thing. And it's really good so far. I'm about 65% through. And I believe there's 3 books, so I think I'm going to do those. I did that through Kindle Unlimited, and I think if you definitely read 2 books a month, I would say it's worth it. Yeah, because a lot of the Kindle books are between like $5 and $15, so I think if you read 2 expensive books a month, you'll be okay, or if you read a bunch of smaller novels like that, it's definitely worth it. I didn't pay for it, I did the free trial. Oh, it just got real dark. And that's really what I've been up to. Not a lot. Again, this is going to be a shorter episode. I do have some more work things we have to do. Definitely a lot of computer work that's been going on the past week or so. But hopefully this means my crafting will also pick up. It's the August slog. Even though I haven't been in school in a couple years. Ooh, I just did the math in my head. Okay. I still sort of rotate on like a school year clock, like August sort of seems like everything's falling off, and I'm just sort of like waiting out for the beginning of the next year to kind of kick in. So September is when I'm going to start feeling more productive and better about things, and it's just a very weird summer low. It might be because of the heat as well. It has been very hot. We are lucky enough to have central air in a relatively new apartment. The apartment itself is only 4 years old, so unlike the last apartment, which was not insulated and did not have effective air conditioning, we felt it hard. Here we don't really feel it as much. It just got so dark So so the heat hasn't been a factor, but I think just like the timing's been a factor. I don't know. I'm rambling. I'm gonna go. I think I will give you a quick stash tour before I leave, and I will see you all next week. Again, we have the shop update tomorrow at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time at onceuponacorgi.com. And thank you so much for watching and supporting, and we will see you next week. Bye. Are you so sleepy, Audrey? With me being safe. Sleeping with scissors. Oh, look. There's the sweater I have to finish. And the skirt I have to finish. Alright, here is a little bit of a stash tour. I hope the sound's not terrible because I'm super close to the mic and this camera is very heavy. It is a Nikon D7000 in case anybody is wondering. It is our regular DSLR camera, one of a couple. I did go to school for photography, so I do have a couple bodies lying around of cameras, not people, I swear. So we went through and we put everything into Rabbit from here up. I have not done anything in these bins, even though that is fiber. This is kits. This is kits. This is heavier weights, and this is scraps. So I'm not even going to bother with that one, but I do need to do these two and the fiber, which is called Max's Toys. Oh, there are my sock blockers. We also, did we do? Oh no, yeah, we did these. So that's a skein for my electric glove shawl by Sam, and then that has been put in. Also some leftovers from Jake Socks, Lazy Kate, Spindles, postcard from Becky, some random fiber, my spinning wheel oil, and a cone of yarn I'm not sure what I'm doing with. It's very thin. I don't know what to do with it. Anyway, back into a stash tour. These are all yarns that have plans, mostly fingering weight, a little bit of DK, and a couple worsted. This whole section is Green Mountain Spinnery. These are what I got for the door prize, so they will be a Colorwork sweater together. These three I got at Rhinebeck last year, so they will be a sweater together. And then various Hugh Loco, some Woolen Vine, Bad Wolf Girl Sits and Knits, or Bad Wolf Girl Studios, Brew City Knits. There's some Fuse in there. Here we have our socks. Socks? Yes. So they are all stripings, self-striping yarn, sock kits, or way back here we have our Jameson Spindrift that is waiting for the rest of it to do a color work. But we have a basket of our mustache. This one I dyed. Some Rainy Days and Woolly Dogs. And our commercial sock yarn is in the back as well. Our Opal Regia. There's a Zauberball and a couple other things. And then our knitting notebook that we have put one thing into on it. Moving us down to this cube. This is all one. Is it all one skein? It's all one skein wonders. They are all single skeins of sock yarn that are either I bought to be socked or I just bought to buy, and they have no plans. And one skein of hand spun. We do that in there. So I'm not sure what's going to happen with this cube. I may go through it again and pick out some stuff for D-stash. I don't know. I'm not sure. All these skeins have either, like, they all feel special to me, but I'm not really sure what to do with them. And a lot of them, like these lighter color ones, I don't really wear these colors, so I'm not really sure why I have these. I bought them. Up in our little magazine shelf, we have notions, needles, lace minis, our Spindrift dyed in the wool, which I think might become part of a sweater. I don't know. And the bottom is Jake's shelf, minus these three. So all of these skeins are skeins for him to be socks, part of his sweater, or just stuff he has picked out of the stash and claimed as his own. Minus the 3 mustard. Those are mine. Yeah, we have the leftover of his goat herder pullover that I have to fix. The cakes, or the skeins I have not caked up for his cable sweater. His primrose that he picked out for himself. The Bad Wolf Girl Studio that he stole. Here's a Thor Ragnarok color that he dyed. He wants socks out of. Some leading men, some self-striping. that's its cube. And again, nothing has changed on the bottom, so I won't show you those guys. But that is what we did. And now we have all of our stock yarn into Ravelry, and it is way more than I thought it was. Oh dear. Alright, well, thank you so much for watching, and we will let you go because my arm is getting so tired.